What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. Mortal Shell 2 is coming up fast. It launches August 20th, and this is one of the most fascinating sequels of the year because a tiny indie team that punched way above its weight in 2020 is now swinging at a full open world Souls-like. There is a lot to unpack, from a combat change that has the community genuinely arguing to a beta you can play right now for free. So today, we are breaking down the 10 things you need to know before it gets here. Let us get right into it. Thing number one, and it is the boldest change in the whole game: stamina is gone, completely removed from the sequel. The official line is that combat is now unrestricted by stamina, so you dodge, sprint, and swing as much as you want, and the fight becomes about breaking enemy posture and landing critical strikes instead of managing a green bar. The developers describe it as agile yet grounded, where you exploit multiple tactics to shatter enemy posture and strike critically. Beta players who loved it say the combat flows way better than the original ever did, but I have to be honest, this is also the most debated change in the community because some longtime fans argue that stamina was exactly what made Mortal Shell feel methodical and deliberate, that there is no real trade-off anymore between attacking, dodging, and blocking, and that you can simply sprint past encounters. Whichever side you land on, this is the single biggest thing to know going in, and it changes everything about how this sequel plays. Thing number two, Mortal Shell 2 is an open world game now, and the developers chose their words carefully, calling it an interconnected open world that is expansive yet deliberately compact. In other words, big but dense on purpose, not bloated. It is packed with more than 60 dungeons. You get a proper hub called Marrow Keep and checkpoints called beacons that double as fast travel points once you discover them. The environments run from derelict temples and forbidden forests to icy graves and bone citadels, and interestingly, beta players found the opening zones surprisingly green and full of life, a real departure from the original's gray misery. One beta reviewer said the locations are simply huge and genuinely interesting to explore, which is exactly what you want to hear about a game making this jump from a compact interconnected map to a true open world. Thing number three, the signature shell system is back and bigger. There are 8 playable shells this time. The dead warriors whose bodies you find and possess, each one effectively its own class with its own memories to uncover. The reveal showed returning favorites like Tiel the Acolyte, the Fragile Agile One, and Eredrim the Venerable, the Walking Tank, alongside brand new shells like Proxima the Broodseeker, a horned warrior built for the new aggressive combat. Shells are found dormant out in the world, can be swapped and upgraded, and each carries lost memories you piece together as you play, which was always the best storytelling in the original. Honestly, finding a new shell somewhere deep in an open world, dormant and waiting, might be the single best fit between this series and its new structure, because now discovery and character building are the same thing. Thing number 4, Hardening is back. The original's most iconic mechanic, turning yourself to stone mid-combo to shrug off a hit and counter, returns in the sequel, and now it feeds into a whole posture system. Wear down an enemy's posture through aggression and well-timed defense, break it, and you unlock brutal execution finishers. The developers are clearly betting the entire combat identity on that rhythm of pressure, harden, break, and execute, and in motion it looks genuinely vicious. And remember, with stamina gone, hardening becomes your main defensive currency, so mastering exactly when to turn to stone matters even more than it did in the original. If you bounced off the first game, this reworked loop is the reason to give it another look. Thing number 5, there are guns now, real range sidearms, including a crossbow and an actual hand cannon, what the store page literally calls medieval firearms. On top of that, the melee arsenal spans scythes, great swords, great axes, and hammers, and there is a new infusion system called tar stones that lets you coat weapons with effects like poison, with what the developers call deeper weapon design and extensive upgrade options behind all of it. The original game had one of the leanest weapon selections in the genre, just 4 weapons total, so this is a massive expansion of how you actually build your fights, and mixing a hand cannon into a Souls-like combo loop is exactly the kind of weird this series should be. Thing number 6, the story setup. You are the Harbinger, a being created to tread what the game calls the unfound path, reclaim the stolen ova of a mysterious mother figure called the Undermother, and dethrone false gods along the way. It is exactly the kind of cryptic, unsettling dark fantasy the first game was loved for, and importantly, it is a completely standalone story. The developers have said you do not need to have played the original at all, so nobody is locked out here. The official taglines tell you everything about the tone, their flesh is your weapon, redeem a ravaged world, and judging by the reveal, with its plague-riddled villages, wandering lost souls, and that unsettling narrator, This is shaping up to be one of the most atmospheric dark fantasy worlds of the year. Thing number 7, the stakes behind this one, because the story of the studio is half the reason to care. The original Mortal Shell was built by a core team of around 15 people, scored in the mid-70s, got nominated for Best Debut Game at the Game Awards, and went on to sell over 1 million copies. Now, that same small team has spent more than 3 years building this sequel. A group that size attempting an open world with 60-plus dungeons is a genuine David and Goliath swing, and it is why so many eyes are on this launch. The hype is real too. This sequel was chosen to open the entire Summer Game Fest show when it was announced, and Games Radar recently called it suddenly one of their most anticipated Souls-likes. Small team, big stage. Thing number 8, you do not have to take anyone's word for any of this because there is a free open beta live on Steam right now. It is about 3 hours of game, covering the prologue and a slice of the first open zone with 2 playable shells, dungeons, and a proper boss. Even better, select progress transfers into the full game, and beta players unlock an exclusive cosmetic called the Harbinger. If you own a PC that can run it, this is the cheapest possible way to settle the stamina debate for yourself before spending a dime. And for what it is worth, the hands-on impressions from that beta lean positive, with one outlet saying it takes everything that was impressive and refreshing about the first game and makes it bigger and better. Thing number 9, the honest concerns, because it would not be one of our videos without them. Beta coverage flagged a lock on camera that can lose focus at the worst moments, and characters whose stories feel a little thin so far. The stamina removal, as we covered, still splits the fan base. And one more thing worth knowing, the beta was PC only, which means console performance on PlayStation and Xbox is completely unverified until launch. On the plus side of that same ledger, the beta reportedly held a stable frame rate, even in big battles on PC, which is encouraging. None of these are alarm bells, but they are the exact things worth watching when the reviews land. And thing number 10, the practical stuff, Mortal Shell 2 launches August 20th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC at $49.99, refreshingly under full AAA pricing. The $59.99 Devout Edition gets you up to 72 hours of early access plus skins for all 8 shells, and there is a $69.99 Collector's Edition with a steelbook and art book that is physical on PlayStation 5 only. Sorry, Xbox and PC collectors, you are digital only this time. And to be clear, no subscription service deal has been announced for launch, so do not plan around one appearing. The date itself is smart too, landing in late August, safely ahead of the big September release rush, so it has room to breathe. And those are the 10 things you need to know about Mortal Shell 2. We are covering this one all the way to launch, including a full breakdown of whether it is actually worth your money when we get closer to the date. So subscribe and turn on notifications so you do not miss it. Which of these 10 has you most excited, and where do you land on the stamina debate? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.